Hello, and welcome back to Invitation to Puzzles, where today we have a Nurimisaki. Now, I originally thought I'd never heard of this genre, but I think I hazily recall watching Simon do one of these a while ago. So we're going to read the rules very carefully together. And then we're going to try and do the puzzle. There's a link in the description if you would like to do the puzzle. This is by Polando, by the way, who generously contributed this on Discord. If you would also like to contribute puzzles to the series on Discord, there are open submissions, just as long as they're appropriate difficulty and style for these purposes. So let's read the rules of Nurimisaki, which looks suspiciously like Kuroto, but is not at all like Kuroto, I don't think. Okay, so we are obligated to shade some cells on the board. There can be no 2x2s, either shaded or unshaded. So complete no 2x2 rules, which usually leads to a pretty looking shape. Circles mark every, so this is a negative constraint, instance of a cell which is unshaded and orthogonally adjacent to exactly one other unshaded cell. So I think one way people describe these cells is dead ends. So they're all unshaded and they're all dead ends of the unshaded stuff. Clues represent the total number of unshaded cells that can be seen in a straight line vertically or horizontally, including itself. So looking from that dead end, if there's a number, it tells us how far we can see. We do have to remember that this is a negative constraint. So if something is a dead end, it's marked. If something's not marked, it's not a dead end. Okay, which is going to be interesting, I think. Okay, and all unshaded cells form an orthogonally connected area, but the shaded cells need not form an orthogonally connected area. Okay, so here is the no, you can't do this. This violates the negative constraint. This thing isn't a dead end. You can't have a 2x2 block. This isn't a dead end. The unshadeds aren't connected. You can't have a 2x2 unshaded thingy-majig or shaded thingy-majig. Okay, so normally I would start by unshading all the clues for my sanity. But I can't because the thing assumes I already have internalized that. So, what about a corner? Is a corner interesting? That is a good question. So, if this corner were to be unshaded, yeah, then it would just be a throughway like this. That's fine. Here I know that one of these two is shaded, I guess. Okay. Yeah, this could go that way. No, it can't. Okay, so I think weirdly enough, this cell can't be shaded. And hear me out. If this cell is shaded, I need to be able to draw a path. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Sorry. If this cell's shaded, what I'm actually saying is that cell's also shaded. Because if I can connect through here, then the problem is, yeah, I guess that's actually the right thing to say. This cell isn't unshaded is the right place for me to start. Because if this cell's unshaded, remember these two are dead ends. They only go one way, so that means I have to shade all of that. And now we run into the issue that now my unshaded cells aren't connected, because remember, every clue is known to be unshaded. Okay, so the quote-unquote easy deduction is that cell is shaded. I'm guessing the same thing actually happens over here, because if I make that unshaded or that unshaded, then I'm going to make these things both into dead ends, which would look... Oh, no, that's okay. Sorry, that's... Oh, no, it's not okay because... Wait, no, it is okay. As long as I sort of scamper off in this direction. Okay, never mind. Okay, I don't think it quite applies there, but it did here because it was in a corner. Okay. Uh, so I guess I also probably know which way this 4 dead ends. Because if I try and make this shaded, this 4 needs to go 4 this way. And in that universe, this is meant to be a dead end because it's a clued cell, but it's not because the 4 continues through it, and also continues 5 and also assorted other problems. So this 4 continues exactly 4. And so we get that sort of stuff. The dot, by the way, means is unshaded. Okay, this needs to come over here. Like that. Because it needs to get out. Remember, the unshadeds need to connect to each other, so this needs to connect. And now this, because it's clued, needs to be a dead end that goes that way to escape. So those are all shaded. And this needs to escape like that. And now we repeat the argument. This needs to be a dead end that escapes that direction. So we can fill in those. And this needs to keep escaping because we're not connected yet. Okay, so now this cell needs to be shaded. I need to remember there's a 2x2 rule, too. I realize I'd already forgotten. This cell needs to be shaded because if it's not, it's a dead end, and there aren't unclued dead ends. Is one of our rules. Okay, I see something that's probably not the intended thing for me to see, which is that if this is unshaded, it forces this to be shaded, and now this is an unclued dead end. Because of the no 2x2s, right? If this is... yeah, I guess here's a different way to say it that sounds less horrible. One of these two is definitely shaded, at least. And whichever of them is shaded, this one's definitely shaded because whichever of them is shaded, this one's definitely shaded because either it's already shaded or this is shaded, in which case that's also shaded to make it not an unclued dead end. I feel like I have articulated this horribly and I've now lost track of which it is. It's this one that's always shaded, right? Yeah, because this shaded implies this shaded, so that's always shaded. Okay, this 4, I guess I could have done this before as well. This 4, we also know which way it goes 4, because it certainly doesn't go 4 into a 3, because 4 and 3 are different numbers, among other reasons. So this goes all the way down there to make my dead end. Okay, now this is a dead end that goes that way. Okay, so now this has to continue out. The 3 now needs to be a dead end that extends out that way, and it extends out that way a total of 3, because that's what the clue means. This can't be an unclued dead end, so it's shaded. Let's see, this cell has to be shaded, because if it were unshaded, the 2 is lying, because it extends at least 3. There's probably a more general statement to be made, but I'm not one to be making it at the moment. This can't be an uncluded dead end. Okay. If this 3 were to extend this way, it creates a problem with the 2. Because if this 3 extends this way, now the 2's dead end is this, and the 3's dead end is this. Oh, that's not actually a problem. Sorry, that's not even a problem, because it could go down that way. And that is fine-ish. I do know that one of these two is shaded, and not exactly one of these two is shaded, and exactly one of these two is shaded. Oh, no. That's the point. one of these two is shaded. I can't shade them both. And if I unshade them both, I get a 2 by 2. So these are one shaded and one unshaded. The point is, these are both always unshaded because there's two possibilities. Either this cell is the unshaded one, in which case I need this to be unshaded to connect under the shaded, or the other alternative is that that one is shaded, in which case, is that this one is shaded. I did this one's unshaded. The other option is that this is shaded, in which case this is unshaded for purposes of avoiding a 2 by 2 of shaded. Okay, so these two are always both unshaded. And that surely helps me in some way. Okay, I can't unshade this. This was also free-ish. In fact, you could have done this before this piece. I'm going to show it to you just so that you see what I see now, because this is probably more close to the intended thing, but I'm going to take that these are both unshaded because I thought it was cool. But this cell's definitely not the unshaded one, because if this cell's unshaded, we're saying that this is a dead end, which looks like that. And the problem with that arrangement is that now I've disconnected my unshadeds, because I've got some unshadeds over here and some unshadeds over here. So this cell's always shaded. Okay, which does get me that this is unshaded. And now actually I can say that this unshaded piece needs to connect to this unshaded piece through these three. Like that. This is now a dead end that escapes that way, which makes that be shaded. These unshadeds now escape that way. This 4, if it escapes this way, it's more than 4. Okay, and so this escaping, which must continue to happen, is going to happen out that direction. Okay, how on earth? Oh, I see. This was easier than there's another thing I could have seen, which is that this cell can't be shaded, because if this cell's shaded, I have an unclude dead end. So this cell is unshaded, and now that has to be shaded. Okay. We get better at these things by doing them, it turns out. Okay. Likewise, if I am willing to entertain that same idea, I'm not quite scanning for unclude dead ends particularly well. If this cell was shaded, it would make this an unclude dead end. So it's unshaded, but now this must be shaded to avoid a 2 by 2 of these. And now if this is unshaded, the effect of it is to isolate this chunk of the grid. Because if I unshade this, now this dead end escapes that way, and I end up looking like that, which is bad for the home team. So that has to be shaded. This is unshaded. And now this 2 can't connect down where it's lying, so it connects that way, making that shaded. Okay, this is a dead end. This has to continue escaping this way. This 4, I guess I now know, certainly is vertical in some sense. I just don't know whether it goes up or down or what exactly it is that happens. Oh, if this cell's unshaded now, I run into a problem, which is that if this cell's unshaded, I've now made these both dead ends, which looks like that, which has also, again, disconnected the world. So I better not do that, which makes that shaded. Oh, I guess I could also have just put in this shaded by my argument that it definitely was vertical, was just telling me that this cell was shaded. But anyway, we'll put in our 4 and we'll shade that. Which tells me about the 3. Very nice, because now the 3 can't escape that way. It's got to escape that way. Now this 2 has got to escape in that dimension. This is shaded to avoid a 2 by 2. Now, the unshadeds that are up here need to connect to the bottom, and if I shade either of these two cells, in fact, any of these three cells, it makes it impossible. The unshadeds have to connect that way. This is a dead end, and this is a dead end. And now these unshadeds, they need to connect around this corner, like that. In order for this to work. Oh, also this unshaded bit needs to connect up, meaning that that's shaded. And actually, we're not connected until I shade that cell. And now it's connected. And in fact, it's still not connected to the rest of the grid. I need to make sure that this ooze continues to flow out down this corridor. Like that. Okay. This can't be shaded, or this is an unclued dead end, which it is not. So this comes this way, which makes that be shaded for purposes of avoiding a 2x2, you see. And now this has to eke its way out here. This is a dead end. This has to come up. And now this needs to be shaded, or this is an unclued dead end, and I think it's going to tell me that I solved the puzzle. Woohoo! The complete notice is always so anticlimactic, but that was very cool. I enjoyed that a lot. It was definitely, I feel like a lot of times for these genres, the most fun you have is in the first few that you do. If the first few are sort of well designed when you're figuring out like very basic things like, hey, that would be an unclued dead end, that kind of thing. That was very fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So a huge thank you to Polando for submitting this. And also, huge thanks to everyone for watching. Do please leave a comment down below if you enjoyed that. Consider subscribing if you haven't yet. We do this a few times a week with various sorts of puzzles, both Sudoku and non-Sudoku. So I hope you'll join us for more. But for now, thanks for watching. Bye for now.